As I open this YouTube video, I'm going to read a little bit from my book, Radical Republican, Tea Party. It's a book I wrote. I'm trying to sell. It does pretty well. It's a good read. I wrote it in 2010. It was published in December of 2010. You can purchase it at any of the online bookstores, Amazon.com, Barnes & Nobles, Exiblis.com, or any bookstore that you might go on the internet. It's in the form of the ebook and hard copy, paperback and hardback. I'm going to read a little bit out of chapter 5 in opening this, and it's the title of the chapter is The What Party? And it's referring to the Tea Party. A few months after President Obama was in office, I began to see news footage of people calling themselves the Tea Party, protesting against big government. Their protests appeared to be specific to President Obama. One of the news clips that caught my attention and stands out in my memory is this middle-aged white woman looking like Miss Piggy, wearing a straw hat with tea bags hanging on it. I was baffled because I had never read or heard anything about this group called the Tea Party. As we moved farther into the year and the Obama administration, the protests grew bigger, louder, and the signs depicted President Obama as a Muslim, a joker, got worse. There were so many signs degrading the president, you cannot describe them all. It prompted me to tape some of the news segments so I could watch them over and make a personal determination of who these people were and what it is they are trying to accomplish. The slogan, "Take our country back," made me beg the question, take the country back from whom? I was wondering where were these people during the 8 years George W. Bush was president, dismantling the economy and rights of American citizens. Looking at the people attending the rallies, the majority of them are white, middle-class baby boomers or children of baby boomers. They are the group I mentioned earlier, who learned from their parents ways of promoting the white race as the superior race, and they have taught their children the same things they were taught. In March of 2010, I went to a Tea Party rally sponsored by Republican Senator David Vitter in my hometown, Covington, Louisiana. Listening to the rhetoric about the health care bill and how President Obama's agenda and too much spending was destroying the country, the speaker ended with the statement, "Let's take our country back." I left that rally with a vivid opinion of the Tea Party movement. I was convinced the majority of the Tea Party supporters, in conjunction with the Republican politicians, are promoting a racist agenda and want to change the 14th Amendment, civil rights laws in the Constitution. As I was driving home, I remember thinking, if you are a minority in the United States of America in 2010, you should be concerned about your human rights and safety, because if the people in the Tea Party, Republicans, gain control of government, life as we know it today will take a drastic turn for the worse, and many of the simple rights, privileges, and liberties we enjoy, such as walking into a restaurant, ordering a meal, will no longer be a privilege or a right. Race relations is a part of the Tea Party's movement agenda, and I do not believe it is for the betterment of race relations. The Tea Party and Republican politicians are constantly talking about the government is too big and it spends too much. What I cannot understand is the Republican Party have been in control of the United States of America 36 of the last 58 years. Every Republican president I can remember have increased the deficit, and not one Republican president has ever balanced the national budget. They increase military spending, reduce taxes for the wealthy, dismantle social programs like public assistance for education, health care, promote outsourcing manufacturing jobs to other countries for cheaper labor rather than provide jobs for American workers. That's just a portion of my book, radical Republican Tea Party. What, maybe this is just my mind, you know, or maybe I'm too far to the left, or not far enough to the middle, or somewhere. I might be lost in what I'm thinking. And hopefully, you know, that's what it is. You know, it's just some idea I got in my head that our politics and our government is not moving to what I think is, and what I see the Republicans doing is creating one of these third world political systems, you know, a Russia type citizen, or a Iran, or some totalitarian rule type society that the Republicans seem to be trying to create. Our country has been noted for its political fairness, our rights to vote, that we can live freely, move from state to state, go where we want to go without anybody, you know, interfering with what we're doing, as long as we are within our laws, or adhere to the laws of the nation. The Republican Party, since President Obama has been in office, has intentionally put our country in a position to where it's at a standstill for jobs. Okay, they don't want to want the government to create any jobs. They want to just take all of the people in government and put them out of a job, so that the so-called private sector will create jobs. Private sector people do create some jobs, but they don't create enough to carry the country. They don't create enough to produce the tax revenue that this nation needs. And taxes is something that's very important to the United States, so that the government can function. The idea that cutting public sector workers, taking those people out of, putting them out of a job, is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, you have streets that need to be cleaned, you have things within a municipality or in the state or the parish or county that need to be repaired. You need people to do that. And when you just boil it right down to it, to take away all of that, to cut all of those programs out, and depend on the private sector. You know, people like Mitt Romney, who was a businessman, and based on, you know, what I've read about him and this company Bain Capital, the way they did business was, you know, you work a few years for them, 10 years or 5 years or 8 years or whatever, and then all of a sudden you find yourself out of a job. Most Americans are looking for a career in something. The governments, whether it be the city government, the state government, parish government, or federal government, they offer careers. The police officers, firefighters, teachers, city maintenance workers, all of these are careers for low and middle income people. These are people who are looking for something with a foundation that they know when they work 25, 30, 40, 50 years on a job, that once they get out of it, they retire and they have some income coming in when they reach that point when they can't work anymore. You know, this idea of a person at age 65 still being able to work at the skill that he's been working at is a ludicrous idea. Any person with the gall to stand up and say that a man 70 years old can continue to do what he's been doing all his life, that's the AH that's been sitting in some office somewhere or running around doing what most politicians do, nothing. And you take into consideration that these people who are talking about taking away public sector jobs, they're in a public job. They're a senator. They were sent to the Capitol to do a job, and they're not doing it. They're using the system. They're getting paid by the system, but yet they don't want this low income, poor, or middle income person to have a job working for the same government or comparison government that they're working for. How in the heck can you do that? If that's not hypocritical, tell me what is not hypocritical. They can take taxpayers' money and put in their bank account, receive a check from the taxpayer, but the taxpayer can't receive a check from the federal government or from a state or city or a municipal government. What kind of crap is that? Do they understand what they say? Do they really, really understand what they're talking about? No, they don't. They really don't. Because they're ignorant about the facts of life. The facts of life is people want a job. They want a career. And who provides that? The private sector do not. Yeah, you know, I'm thinking about what President Obama said this past weekend. The private sector's doing fine. They are doing fine. They've created 4 million jobs in the last 27 months. That's a pretty good deal. They need to create more. And the Republicans need to stop blocking all of the things that the Democrats do and let these bills pass so that the government can provide jobs for the people that pay taxes to the government, that pay their salaries. The Republicans are blocking these things in the Senate. They making all these different bills about women's health care, Planned Parenthood, and getting into religion and all of this different stuff when they should be doing the things that they're supposed to be doing for the federal government. They're supposed to be representing their state. They're supposed to be representing the people in their state, not these special interests, people like the Koch brothers and all of these different corporations that they do, Wall Street and all that. Wall Street is the one that messed us up before. Wall Street gets the money from our retirement programs to invest so that we'll have money at the end of our careers or when we decide to retire. But they goofed that off in the 2007 and 2008, making all these mistakes, gambling with the money that we are investing into our retirement when they could just invest it in a proper way and have the money there for us when we get ready to retire. You know, Republicans need to back up. You know, they're trying to create this totalitarian one-party rule nation that everybody, anybody with any common sense would understand is detrimental to the American way of life. You can't have just one way or no way. You got to have a variety of opinions, and people have got to be allowed to bring up these discussions and to do these different things with, to make sure that our nation run by its Constitution, the Constitution that was set up to govern this country. But the Republican Party and these Tea Party groups and these people like the Turd Blossom, which is a phrase I done taken from Ed Schultz about Karl Rove, and these super PACs, and then our justice system with these radical, we got some radical people up there like Clarence Thomas, Mr. Scalia, and Stevens, and all of these people. They're ultra neoconservative type people that's not making the decisions that they should be making. They never should have ever changed that law about the political financing and allowing all these people to pour all this money into our politics. You know, I don't know if it's a way, but they all should be impeached out of there. Every one of them that voted for that should be impeached out of that judicial system, the Supreme Court. That don't make sense for somebody like that to do that. And then this idiot Clarence Thomas, he's got a wife that's out there, a Tea Party member, running everything, but he gets to make judgments on different laws, the health care and all of this different stuff. That's wrong. Our judicial system is supposed to be separated from our political system, our executive branch. It's supposed to be totally different. It's supposed to be fair and impartial. But the one we have up there now with these radical individuals that's got political views that they shouldn't have in the court is messing up our nation. It's screwed our nation up. Now you got people like the Koch brothers and all these different millionaires and billionaires that's just buying these elections. Mitt Romney's a person that's going to be bought. Once he's in office, he's not going to do anything. Start another war. That's exactly what he's going to do. And if you vote for Mitt Romney, you're voting for our country to fall further back than where George Bush had it when he left office. Good day.